Central College. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12:03. That's 88.1 yard and content. It's right on the call. The Holy Bible. That one, the Holy Quran. And come to an agreement about the Holy Scripture and truth. So Sunday from scriptural discussion with the Son of Man. Every Sunday at 12:02 right here on that's 88.1 yard and content. You can call in live on the air. 868-0342 and 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 3. That's 313-868-4326, 868-0342, and 868-4351. And now let's go live.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you once again who, thank you, who have the hunger and thirst for the Holy Scriptures and the author's understanding of what he revealed through those men whom you refer to and reverence as prophets and messengers of God. This is the day that we speak to you. May Allah's salam alaikum. I'm not addressing myself so much to those who disbelieve, because it is written, those who disbelieve, it is alike to them whether thou warn them or warn them not. They will not believe. It's like this morning, I made it very clear. Some of you tried to, this one lady in particular, she tried to shield her unjustness by talking about how early in the morning it was. It's too early to be doing this. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, when I say something to you or tell you what I will accept and what I won't accept, I mean that. You had better learn to pay attention when I'm talking to you. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, when we were on Miss Ramsey's broadcast, 2 brothers think one of them was 6'4", and the other one was this fella called himself Jihad. And they attacked me through going through Miss Ramsey and put her in between us. And I didn't correct it then because it was done already. And so I made sure, because I had meant to tell them that at the next week, but you notice we hadn't missed, those of you who've been keeping up, we missed a few broadcasts. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since we spoke. And so this morning, rather than go through something that I regularly do, which is teach a little bit, I made it clear to them that I was not going to tolerate that anymore. You're not going to attack me or what I'm teaching, and I'm on the phone and you talking about me to somebody else instead of talking to me. And I told them, don't do that no more, because I'm not going to accept that. And I wanted to make sure that we are men. When I hear men, I try to give any man the same respect that I want to be given. I'm not going to have you standing there or you on the other end of the phone and it's a 3-way call or whatever, and I've got something to say about disagreeing with you, and then I'm going to address that to somebody else, to the other person. No, I'm not going to do you like that. If I have a disagreement with you, I'll talk to you, because that's how I want to be treated. You don't have to really tell men that, but we have not actually been men. The black man and woman in America, we have not been men and women. We have been afflicted. The man and womanhood in us was killed and replaced with boy and girl. Well, I'm here to resurrect manhood. Now, if a man has something that he disagrees with another man about, then the manly thing to do, the civilized thing to do, is if that person is available, confront them. Don't go and confront a third party. It's just like people say, I don't let people talk. People don't pay attention when I'm speaking because they hate me. They think I don't know that. I know, you hated Allah. You hated every prophet that ever came. Why should the Lord of them be any different? Only I'm not going to take off for you what they had to take. They wanted that. They actually was asking me, why am I putting up with you? But anyway, so the people got so used to mistreating messengers of God that they just, every time one show up, they do to him whatever they please. And because they were so humble, they were sheep-like. They wasn't sent to fight you. They were sent to try to save you from the corrupt mind that had been ruling the earth for the past 6,000 years. I should say during the past 6,000 years. And you got the impression that because They didn't fight with you that we didn't have no authority to do anything to you. So I warned that boy. But no, he want to show off. And wound up getting cast into hell. Showing off. You know, I haven't did an atom's weight of harm to any of y'all, black or white people. If I had, you would have been pointing it out. It's just like with white people. You know, they listen to me, and I know I'm in their country. I'm living under no illusions about whose flag is more respected in America. And I show him the same courtesy that if it was my country, I would expect to be shown. It have nothing to do with being afraid of him. It has to do with being afraid of God. I have a God too. My God is the word. It's just like the foolish president. And I call him foolish because he somehow thinks that he does not have to submit to the Constitution himself. But it's some things that I want to share. But first, I mean, any Caucasian that thinks that I'm overstepping myself and you want me to stop discussing your government or whatnot, you know, it's kind of hard to tell me to stop discussing your government when right now my people are under the authority of your government. Now, I'm trying to get out your way, and I'm trying to get my people out of your way. And I'm trying to do it without causing harm to you. Just because you don't like living in the house don't give you the right to burn it down. You get on other people's property. How many of y'all done rented other people's property before? When you got tired of living there, did you burn the man's house down or did you move? You don't have to tear up other people's property for you to live good. At the same time, I got I got family. Now, you know how your parents, I remember I had never met none of my cousins. You know, my little brother had, but I hadn't. I moved when my parents moved out to California. All my relatives was back here in Mississippi. And we was out there. I had never seen a uncle. I had uncles. I had aunts. I had first cousins, second cousins. All these. I didn't know nothing about them. And eventually, you know, some of them came out to visit, and I got a chance to meet my cousin Lamar and some of the rest of them. And my mother said, "This your cousin so and so. This is your Aunt Hannah's son, and this is, you know." And they start. Well, this is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He introduced me to some of my brothers and sisters that was white. He simply said, "There are white Muslims in America, and lots of them, and they recognize and respect you. Then you must recognize and respect them." So I ain't paying no attention to all these nuts out here mad at me because I really believed in the messenger. They say they believed in him and doing just the opposite of what he taught. And following everybody who turned against him. They ain't got nerve enough to come in there clowning with me. Boy, you just don't know. You sure caught me right this morning. Because I'm about sick of you. You through misrepresenting us. All these sycophants running around here making people think that Islam is some kind of terrorist religion. Well, I'm giving all of you notice. You through misrepresenting us. Now I'm telling the whole world, if they ain't following me, the Son of Man, they ain't no Muslim. Yeah. You notice, I offered that boy $20,000 this morning if he could prove that I done lied about something. How come he didn't take me up on it? How come don't none of them take me up on it? I'll tell you why. It's because they know that I'm true and they are the liars. Let God be true and every other man be a liar. If it had said every other man instead of just every man, you would have known that God also is a man. But so they had to mess that up, you see. But I'm straightening out what they messed up. The word was with who? Was the word a lie or the truth? So really, when they say the word was with God, it's saying the truth was with God. Is that right? Now you understand why it says, "Speak not of my servants as dead, for they are alive and you perceive not." What is someone that's your aid? And what's your help? Your servant? Speak not of my aids as dead, for they are alive and you perceive not. They told you that. I love Paul so much. He said, for me to be absent from the body, don't think I'm dead. I'll be present with the Lord. I'm alive and you perceive not. Every one of them is with me. I beheld a lamb on the Mount Sion. Sion means projection. What is prophecy? It's a mountain of knowledge projecting into the future. And I beheld on the Mount Sion a lamb, and with him 144,000 having the truth in their foreheads, having his father's name written and in their foreheads. Jesus said, "It is written" enough, didn't he? Yes. Well, it is written. It is written. Even the devil said it's written. Is that right? Yes. Having his father's name written and in their foreheads. By now, you know my Father is the truth. The messenger told you that. That's why I said, no man know the Father but the Son. Neither any man the Son but the Father. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. So, I want to, uh, show some honor to, since we are a nation in a nation, that makes America our mother. So I want to show some honor to our mother, and at least pull her coat. That you know, if you want to destroy, listen to me good. Those of you who are patriots and love your country, because you know, if I didn't care nothing about you, you just look and see what you see me doing, and that'll tell you where my heart is. See, I understand perfectly now that no two objects can occupy the exact same space at the exact same time. You cannot love and hate at the same time. You have a choice you have to make. You see? So I want you to, you know, many people, they get mad, and they get mad for the wrong reason. You know, if you're going to get mad, you ought to have a good reason to be mad instead of just tripping. Now, I want to let you hear a little something here, and then I'm gonna get into showing you, because if you don't know how, I mean, for instance, if you want to destroy a government like this, America, there's nothing, understand something. There's nothing that is built that cannot be taken down. If by nobody else, it can be taken down by the one who built it. God ain't made nothing he ain't got control over. He ain't did nothing that he can't undo. If the truth brought it into being, and it didn't come into being if truth didn't bring it, then the truth can take it out of being. Do you understand? So it's very important. The difference between life and death is understanding. When you understand how to preserve your life, you keep living. When you misunderstand how to preserve your life, you lose it. There's no such thing as something unattended preserving itself. The minute you lose understanding of how to maintain what you have, you no longer have dominion over it. The only way you have dominion over something is that you understand how to govern that thing. You lose the understanding of how to have dominion over it, you cease to have dominion. Do you understand? Bringing an end to the world ain't no problem. Just take your mind from you, and that's the end of you. You ain't got no power to fight God. That's a fool's errand. So You know, that's something that you don't even set out on. It's like people thought the devil was fighting God. The devil ain't never fought God. The devil fought the representatives of God. He was given permission to test the representatives of God. But he was told, don't test me. He said, don't you test the Lord your God. Thou shalt not test or tempt the Lord thy God. Now, if you want to find out I'm God in the worst way, just do what they said don't do to me. You find out. So, you know, there was a time when I wouldn't stand up and talk to you like this. Because when I was a child in my understanding, I spake as a child. The messenger didn't say the black child is God. He said the black man is God. So I had to experience many things. The book says that. First must he suffer many things, meaning experience many things, and be rejected of this generation. But now, you notice no matter what subject matter I teach on, I'm the best knower of it. And if I'm not the best knower at the beginning, by the time I finish having a discussion with someone who does know things about it that I don't know, they find out that I know best how to use what they knew and understood, but didn't know how to connect it to nothing. So I want you to pay good attention. This is for the white Muslims, the patriots, even those who hate me, white people, the Klan, and you know, some of you all who practice white supremacy. But if you love your country, then just take what I say with a grain of salt. If it can help you to help keep your house from being tore up by people who using your hatred against you. Let me show you something the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. I think you need to hear this. So give me a minute. Now,
my name is Portia Davis, and I was invited to the mosque, and I'm very glad to be here. But this one particular question that I had in my mind, like, I wanted to know, what did you consider love to be?
I consider love something that we have nothing that comes between us without liking it. Liking anything runs into loving anything. And that if we love each other, there will not be opposition against each other. Other than love is opposed to that which we like or love. And therefore that which we love and like or like and love, we call it love.
Well, for my studies, and I do quite a bit of studies of and about, you know, different religions and God, I've come to the conclusion that God is love, Allah is love. But do you think that hate and love could be together?
No.
Well, I want to know exactly what do you teach? Do you teach love or do you teach hate? But do you think that hate and love could be together?
No.
Well, I want to know.
You heard that? Yes. That's why people didn't understand the messenger. He was not acting out of his hatred of white people and what he was doing for us. He was acting out of his love for us. And so wherever he went, his actions was the actions of a loving, kind person. That's why Mayor Daley declared Elijah Muhammad Day in Chicago. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a righteous and upright man. He was not somebody who was out here faking. You couldn't find the person in Chicago, black or white or on this planet, that could say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad mistreated them and make that charge stick. If the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a liar, even Malcolm, why did Malcolm still say his religion is Islam? If the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a liar, then the religion that he taught was a lie. Every one of them that left what he was teaching had to go find something that they could say is Islam. So, but I'm doing away with all that. If you're not following me, you're not a Muslim. And you certainly don't have a religion of entire submission to the will of God, because I am God. And if you won't submit and do and obey me, you're not in Islam. Now, if I'm lying, why don't you come in here and show the people that I done lost my mind? It's kind of strange to me to hear people that was running around here quoting my lessons. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. And then when they hear me out here saying I'm God, they say, what? You God? Yeah. See, they never did believe that. But it wasn't for them, no way. It was for me. It's not called the student's enrollment. It's called the student enrollment. That's the Holy Quran. The messenger said the Holy Quran is not a book of prophecy. It's a message directed to a student under the teachings or guidance of Allah. That's why it say so and so and such and so and so. And when they say so and so, you say so and so. The Holy Scriptures are all addressed to me. That's why I'm the only one understand them. I am addressed to the whole world. That's why the whole world understands me. All you can do is accept or reject me. You can't produce an argument for anything I say. All you can do is disbelieve or believe. So now, like I said, you know, I don't believe in being a secret enemy to people. When I have a problem with something you doing to me, I tell you. If you correct yourself, I can accept that. You know, but you got people who, you remember WD? He was pretending to believe in the teachings and got in charge so he could mislead us. That's the devil's old saying. If you can't beat them, join them and then mislead them. That's what I'm saying. I said, if you can't beat them, join them. See, you didn't know the rest of it, but the rest of it, you remember this old saying, a hint to the wise is sufficient? Well, if you can't beat them, that means what? Well, look, you can't overpower them. So what you do is pretend to go along with them. Play chess. Bring others and move them into positions, especially if it has a rank structure. Move all your men in positions of authority. Then you can overthrow it from within. Pay attention now. You remember I told you that you need to go into Congress and find everybody whose name is on that stupid pledge that Grover Norquist with his little sorry self. You go. He wouldn't come in here and talk to me. I sure didn't. You try to get him in there? Yeah, no, he ain't gonna come talk to me. You know, so I know what he up to, and he's just a pawn. He works for somebody else. Do you understand? He working for the same people that's been handling these people that you notice all them Russian people are all over here and all these Italian names and all this stuff. You don't forget Mussolini was with the Hitler. And if it hadn't been for America, Hitler would have took it all. So if you think that them people ain't people that was for him just went somewhere and gave up. No, they didn't. They waited on you to go to sleep. You remember that movie, The Wrath of Khan? Now, Captain Kirk had forgot all about how he had defeated Khan. Huh? But what did Khan do? He stole him a ship, and he got up there and he said, while he was getting ready, pretending to be the friend. I mean, you don't expect your own ship to fire on you. You don't expect your ally to fire on you. And Khan said, Kirk, my dear, what did he call it? My old friend. Have you not heard of the Klingon proverb that revenge is a dish that is best served cold? It is very cold in the darkness of space. Then he fired on him, didn't he? And he was reveling in it. Just like they reveling in, don't think these people ain't reveling in the fact that they got all of these American, the people against each other. Yeah. Getting you to tear up your own house because of your hatred. Hatred ain't never held the house together. You should have paid attention to that song that Captain and Tennille sung. Love will keep us together. That's right. If you ain't got no love, you can't stay with nobody. The very nature of hatred is death. What made that man shoot them 50 people in Las Vegas? Love or hate? What made this man that just ran over them people that wasn't doing nothing to him? What made him do that? And then he said, I'm glad I did it. His mind is filled with hatred because he's been drinking from the wrong source. And don't tell me that couldn't happen to you. That could happen to any ignorant person. An ignorant mind is a child. And if the mind is ignorant, it's like an empty vessel or whatnot. You can urinate in it, or you can put pure water in it, and it'll take either one you put in there. And you keep blaming the wrong ones. So you keep killing each other. So you just pass hatred back and forth between yourselves. And you ain't never gonna have no peace. You ain't never seen a person whose heart and mind was filled with hatred at peace. They ain't never at peace. It's impossible to be at peace when you're filled with hatred. And it is impossible not to be at peace when you're filled with love. Love and compassion and patience and tolerance, all those things go hand in hand. They produce each other. You see? Anyway, it's just like people, they say, well, he don't listen to me. I listen. It's just that I don't let you come in here and lie to me. You say something that don't make sense to me, I stop you and ask you a question about it. The same way I let you do me. If I say something that don't ring true with you, you can stop me and question me. Trouble is, you can't find no fault in nothing I'm teaching. So you decide that you find fault with who I'm saying I am. I don't care. You think it bothered me because you don't believe I'm the Son of Man? Allah already told me you wasn't going to believe that. And told me what to say to you. Just tell them, say, oh, disbeliever, I serve not that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. The messengers of God are not dead. They are alive in me. And I serve him, and you don't serve him. And that is just how it goes. When I open my mouth, you notice a waiter he does what? When he delivers your food to you, what is he doing? He's serving food to you. Huh? I serve not that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. Every time you open your mouth, you serving something to somebody's ear. All of the prophets were hymns. He's. You feel pretty cheap calling them she. So now I want you to pay attention that these people, you need to start from the beginning and work your way back. You see, if you sometimes things that seem to be just isolated events, they are not isolated events. They are someone working on a plan they had. I got a question. I want y'all to answer this for me. How do you shrink the government of America down to the size that it can fit in a bathtub? That's what Grover Knox. Let me see again. Let's find Grover. I like to. I got a lot of things that I want to say, but let's get first things first. So this is something that you may have forgotten, so I'm gonna let you see it again.
Joint Congressional Committee on Deficit Reduction has just 3 days to reach a deal eliminating at least $1.2 trillion from the nation's debt, using some combination of cutting spending and raising taxes. The person at the heart of those negotiations, and some would say the person responsible for the deadlock, is neither a member of Congress nor the holder of any public office. He's a lobbyist and a conservative activist named Grover Norquist, who over the years has gotten virtually every Republican congressman and senator to sign an oath called the Pledge.
Now, before I let him finish, you know, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they always think somebody is kidding or just exaggerating when that person says that they want to do something that the person they talking to think is impossible. Do you understand? When someone who is your enemy can get you to underestimate their intelligence, they gain an advantage over you. You know, it's when you think a person is crazy, then you don't watch them that close except to make sure that they don't, you don't listen to them too much. And so they can do things right out in the open and you don't pay no attention because you say they're crazy. And they got an old saying, crazy like a fox. And so you have to be careful by what you think can't happen. Because when you think it can't happen, you remember they was talking about the banks too big to fail? And they wind up failing? Just taking it for granted, they so big, can't nothing happen. You ever looked at a whale up close and saw all of the little leeches and the barnacles and stuff that's attached themselves to him, sucking his sapping from him? And he can't do a thing about it, can he? You see? So I want you to pay attention. Because like I told you, I'm on this ship. I'm not interested in letting this ship sink. I don't require that. When Jonah was getting ready to go on his mission, trying to get away from his mission, it's like when I left the church. I wasn't interested in being no preacher. I didn't want nothing else to do with the church when I got out there, and didn't pick up no Bible no more either. I had got sick and tired of the Bible. Man, every time the church door opened, my mama had me there. At vacation Bible school, everybody out at the park skating and doing everything. I'm at vacation Bible school. And so, I said, boy, when I get old enough, you just wait. And I always made the best of it. When I went to Bible school, I always wind up kind of enjoying myself. But I was a young boy. And I was going to public school. They didn't have no private school for us where we was just taught what they call Christian values. My mother was teaching me one thing at home, and then sending me to the public school where I'm learning just the opposite. She there telling me to turn the other cheek, and they there busting people upside the head. And, that don't work too well. So I learned how to fight. And, and my daddy, he told me, don't you let nobody hit you and don't you hit them back. You better not come home crying no more. And so I learned to fight. And, it's all, when I was around my mother, I had to be two ways. I got out in the street, I talked like the other brothers. I could use all that language, that tough stuff. Then when I got home, I had to talk different. You understand? But I was just tired of living like that. But I had to learn to get along in both worlds, please my mama and deal with the streets. And so when I got in my teens, I got me a job, and working maintenance work, learn how to do buffing floors and shampooing carpets, dumping trash, doing whatever, making me some money. And then I stopped going to church. I had to go to work. They didn't stop you from going to work. So I went to work, not to church. And like Jonah, he was trying to get away. And at some point in time, it got so rough out there after I got back from Vietnam and was out there going up and down the street. Got back here, I was a nervous wreck. And I just wasn't at peace. So when that brother invited me to the temple, I went. And that was the beginning of my being prepared for this mission. You see? The nation was prepared like a great fish. That's what they called it when you went out looking for people to bring to the temple. They called it fishing. And the Nation of Islam was a great fish that swallowed me. And, you know, when it came time, I prayed from the fish's belly, you know, from the nation. That's the first time I ever turned to the east, was when I was in the Nation of Islam. And I learned how to pray standing upright. But I liked that part, because I used to hate getting on my knees. I just, you know, my knees would hurt when I was down there trying to do it the way they was doing it. And he prayed, the preacher get up there and prayed a long time. And you had to change knees. And so, you know, and be so glad when he get up, you'd be glad to say amen. But anyway, but I'm so thankful that I had that foundation. And the messenger said he was here to put my mind back into the scriptures. Well, he was talking to me. Because I grew up with the scriptures. It wasn't like I had to be taught the scriptures. I could almost recite the Bible from heart. But when he put me back in there, then I started finding the truth that he was teaching. I found in there where it says, I will send you Elijah, the prophet. And I looked at what he was doing and how he was changing the way I look at white people and at brown people and yellow people. Instead of looking at them like they was something over me, I look at them now. Those are our children. He shall turn the hearts of the fathers. He shall change the minds of the fathers toward their children and the minds of the children toward their fathers. You see, when I became a Muslim, people just started respecting me when I started carrying myself in a respectful way. And so I don't mean to be prolonging that, but I need you to understand that, you know, I'm not motivated by my hatred of anyone. I love my people. So I understand a man's love for his people. You see? I got no problem with the what's his name, Mr. Thomas Robb. He loved white people. I ain't got no problem with him, David Duke, and them loving their people. My problem is that why you got to come hurt my people if you love yours? You got a strange kind of love. No, you don't love them because what happened when they disagree with you? Then you want to hurt them. Just like this morning, I didn't throw that man in hell because he disagreed with me. I threw him in hell because he was disrespectful to me. If you disagree, you disagree. That ain't no reason to get disrespectful. But no, he disrespect me because he figured he could get away with it. Well, I'm here to tell you, you ain't getting away with it no more. Now, I want you to pay good attention to this man that you thought was just, you know, he just saying stuff. He can't do none of that stuff that he doing it. And got you to look the other way.
It's a promise that they will never, under any circumstances, vote to raise taxes on anyone. And so far, Grover Norquist has held them to it, controlling 279 votes, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Minority Leader, and all 6 Republican members of the Joint Committee on Deficit Reduction. A lot of people think you're the most powerful man in Washington.
The tax issue is the most powerful issue in American politics going back to the Tea Party. People say, oh, Grover Norquist has power. No, Grover Norquist and Americans for Tax Reform focus on the tax issue. The tax issue is a powerful issue.
Grover Norquist is trying to be modest. Since creating Americans for Tax Reform at Ronald Reagan's behest back in 1985, Norquist has been responsible more than anyone else for rewriting the dogma of the Republican Party.
Republicans won't raise your taxes. We haven't had a Republican vote for an income tax increase since 1990.
Now remember, he's hiding up under Ronald Reagan. But he actually done perverted what Ronald Reagan was doing. It's like these people who try to hide up under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and then perverted his teachings. And the ones who hide up under Jesus and then perverted his teachings. And then hiding up under Prophet Muhammad and then perverted his teachings. The devil good for hiding up. You ever seen a snake that wouldn't hide up under a rock? The scripture calls the messengers of God rocks, stones. We were built with hewn stones. You know why? Because the messenger of God, when it came to the word of God, he was solid as a rock in his faith. What did Jesus say? Upon this rock, I will build my church. He wasn't talking about Peter. He was talking about the truth that he was speaking. And he said, and I and my Father, I and this truth that I'm speaking, we are one. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Okay, now, he got Ronald Reagan that he's hiding up under. Do you understand? All right, now listen to him.
And this is what you're doing.
I helped. Yeah.
It began with a simple idea of getting,
Tax increase since 1990.
and this is what you're doing.
I helped. Yeah.
Americans for Tax Reform at Ronald Reagan's behest back in 1985. Norquist has been responsible more than anyone else for rewriting the dogma of the Republican Party.
Republicans won't raise your taxes. We haven't had a Republican vote for an income tax increase since 1990.
And this is what you're doing.
I helped. Yeah.
It began with a simple idea of getting Republicans all over the country to sign an oath called the Taxpayer Protection Pledge, promising their constituents that they would never, ever vote for anything that would make their taxes go up.
I think I need to speak to you. Did you think that the experiment in slavery was just so they could enslave us? Yeah, that's what we all thought. But they running the game on the whole world that they ran on us now. Let me read something to you. See, you even looked at the Taxpayers Protection Pledge. Didn't you see The Godfather? They protection money. What you done? That pledge he done took over the media to such degree, him and his crooks. He tells politicians, sign this pledge, you won't be protected from whoever we run against you. We will use the media, we'll slander you, we'll do some of everything, and won't be a thing you can do about it. You won't win this next election. Sign the pledge, and we'll leave you alone. We'll even help you. Huh? Why is the pledge so important? He's gonna tell you in a minute. But first, you need to learn the language that he's using. Listen to this. This is a controlled language. This is in How to Make a Slave. It says, you know, language is a particular institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of another country, to the extent that he knows the body of the language, to that extent is the country vulnerable to attack or invasion of a foreign culture. For example, you take a slave. If you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave. For you can't fool him any longer. And being a fool is one of the basic ingredients of and incidents to the maintenance of the slavery system. You see? You got a saying. You got people that use this old saying. They try to attribute it to the Arabs, but it go back further than them. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That may sound good, but that's the furthest thing from the truth. I could see him now. Here two wolves, or a pack of wolves, got a sheep sitting up over there. And the wolves start fighting each other. And the sheep start thinking, oh, well, he defending me. No, they fighting over which one I'm going to eat you first, man. You got it wrong. But that's an old adage that when people go for it, it makes them vulnerable to people who have another agenda other than helping them destroy that enemy, because once they destroy that enemy, then they'll take his place and deal with you themselves. Now, you think that I've asked many of them to come in here, and they won't have that discussion with me. You know, but how is the black man in America the enemy to white people? We don't have no weapons. We don't own any businesses, and whatever businesses we do have, they are mostly retail, and we're no threat to them at all. But somehow they convince themselves that we the one they got to mistreat. Well, if you looked at a German during the time of the war between Germany and America and England, if you looked at the German and the American and they both put on suits, you couldn't tell which one of them was which. The Frenchman, there's little You know, you got on a little small differences, but the truth of the matter is they're all brothers. And they the ones that's been scheming to undo each other. And if they can get you off your game by misdirecting your attention, that's to their benefit. I'm not saying Germany is America's enemy now, but I am saying that the Russian ideology is not democracy. And if Russia's ideology is not democracy, why you call yourself buddying up to them? Russia's a dictatorship, as far as I know. Maybe you know something I don't. You got to learn to pay attention to what's going on around you. Freedom ain't free. It requires a watchful eye. Because when you are the biggest and most powerful and the wealthiest, those who want to be that, you the target. Especially with you opening your doors to everybody that look like you. You don't forget. Those who look like you is the ones that you was in competition with. Anyway, listen.
Speaker Gingrich's tax pledge back in 1998.
And once they sign the pledge, Grover Norquist never forgets. The more signatures he's collected, the more his influence has grown.
I think to win a Republican primary, it is difficult to imagine somebody winning a primary without taking the pledge.
The signatories not only include more than 270 members of Congress, but all of the Republican presidential candidates with the lone exception of John Huntsman.
Okay, folks, we want to get going?
All that leverage has made Norquist's Wednesday breakfast meetings a must-attend event for Republican operatives fortunate enough to get an invitation. David Keene, the president of the National Rifle Association, was there the day we attended, along with conservative columnist John Fund. This is the grand central station of the conservative movement. We were told it was the first person who had ever been allowed into the weekly off-the-record strategy session.
Our approach is going to be to just simply drill away every day as people from Capitol Hill, House and Senate, think tanks, Tea Party groups, business groups, everybody who wants the government to be smaller and everybody who wants the government to live in law. I intend to win. I intend to be part of the whole effort to crush the other team.
Grover Norquist has been called both the Dark Wizard.
Everybody who wants the government to be smaller and everybody who wants the government to leave them alone. To leave them alone to do what? What is it that they want to do that the government is stopping them from doing? I'll show you an example in just a moment. You see all of these overweight people in America. Yes, sir. Well, let me show you something here. These people killing you wholesale. If I can find my magic wand, I don't know what I've done with it now. Here it is. That was a metaphor. Oh, man.
Does not see a way
That we need to see.
Yeah, Sarah, can you explain to our viewers exactly, give us the intricacies of the job participation rate? That 62%, is that 62% of everybody that is eligible and capable
Yeah.
of work in America?
Correct, 62%.
Yeah, and historically, it's been much higher, but it started dropping after 2008.
Correct. So we saw a big drop in the big financial crisis and recession. And the problem is
it has really failed to come back. And there are a number of factors we can point to. For instance, technology, the fact that manufacturing jobs just aren't what they used to be. We have this huge skills mismatch in the economy. And as a result, businesses complain all the time about labor shortages. They're just not finding people who they need to hire with the right skills. So these are what is called structural problems, permanent, big changes within industry and technology. And it creates a lot of problems because you have a lot of working eligible people of the age that can't enter the labor force because they either don't have the skills or are just disincentivized to do so. And so we do need to see that number move up to indicate a healthy jobs market.
Then why are they defunding education? And by the way, where does the education money come from? Taxes. Make the government smaller. Why? Because this the government that got in every tyrant that was, from Hitler to Mussolini to all of them that was bent on the crazy idea that tyranny is the best way to rule the earth. America was in the way. Now just listen and pay attention.
A healthy economy, but the fact that the unemployment rate has moved down should actually encourage that number to move up. We'll wait and see. Still waiting.
All right, CNBC Sarah Eisen at the Stock Exchange. Sarah, thanks so much. Michael Lewis is back. Michael's also a contributing editor for Vanity Fair. His latest piece in the magazine, titled "Made in the USA," examines the state of the U.S. Department of Agriculture under the Trump administration.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture. What is that? Plant and animal science. Now, in other words, the way to a man's heart is to his stomach. If you don't look out for the health of the American people and keep a watchful eye on who's feeding them and what are they being fed, then you can destroy them without them even knowing they're being destroyed. Just listen. Yeah, like I said, watch what happened with the last administration when they changed and turned the mantle over to these. Watch what they tell you happened.
What did you find when you dug in on this? What are the concerns of some of the people you talk about?
Let me back up why I'm writing a 13,000 words on the Department of Agriculture. That was going to be that's an existential question. Explain this, I think.
Now, on as serious a topic as this, they're laughing about it. Because what? Oh, it ain't gonna really be no big thing. They still ain't realized that while they think all of these things are just accidentally happening, it's all a plan. Now, just pay attention.
So the Trump administration basically skipped the transition in a lot of the government, and the Obama administration is prepared, like most presidents going out, an exquisite course on how the federal government worked. Hundreds of people were deputed to build reading books, explain the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Energy, the Treasury Department, and day after the election, the assumption is like 20 people are going to roll into each one of these agencies and start to cram like what's going on. And it's not a matter of an ideological argument. A lot of what's going on in the federal government is not ideological. It's like how you run the place. And it's amazing to me, given all the drama around the politics around the election. The whole point of the thing is to run that government with 2 million people in it. And then they just didn't show for the briefings. So what I've been doing is going and getting the briefings that they didn't bother to get. And I did it with the Energy Department a couple of months ago. And so the next part 2 is the Agriculture Department. And there are several reasons I went to it, but one was I just thought, I wonder if I can pick a place where there's nothing to worry about because it's so sleepy. Like nothing could go wrong. And instead it's like, oh my God, what a mess.
What specifically?
So I'll give you some examples. The big problem, like put it, if you force me to put it in a couple of sentences, the motives of the people who are there. It's like, why are you in the agriculture department if you're working for Donald Trump? And so an example is Sam Clovis. Sam Clovis, who Donald Trump nominated to be the head of science in the Department of Agriculture. Now, most people might not know that the Department of Science and the Department of Agriculture, but they spend roughly $3 billion a year to make grants to researchers to, well, most of the research is related to climate change. It's like how we're going to grow food or raise livestock in a different climate. So this is research that will have a big effect on how we're living in 50 years. If it's done well, it's important. The person who ran this during the Obama administration was a woman named Kathy Wotecki. She spent the better of a 50-year career as an agricultural scientist, and was exquisitely familiar with the job she was given. Her whole life was prepared her for it. The guy Trump puts in is a right-wing radio talk show host from Iowa who has no science at all in his background.
Now, they put a man that knows nothing about the science of agriculture to be the head of the Agriculture Department of the United States. Now, let's go back to Grover. If he don't know nothing, now if that man that they put it over the administration, Food and Drug, what was that? Department of Agriculture. If they put a man over there that didn't know anything about the science of agriculture, then what happens is that if at the head of it you have somebody that don't know nothing, he's going to do whatever he's told to do. And he's not going to put up no red flags or nothing else, no matter what you feed the American people. Now, just listen now, and let's go back to Grover now.
The right anti-tax cult and the single most effective conservative activist in the country. He is a libertarian ideologue who believes that Washington is controlling our lives through the taxes it raises to fund big government. And he said that he wants to shrink it to the size where it could be drowned in a bathtub.
You want to drown it in the bathtub? No, we want it down to the size to where it would fit in the bathtub. And then I could worry about what we're up to.
Did you hear that? Want to shrink it down to the size that it could fit in a bathtub, then it could worry about what we're up to. And what? They thought he was joking. Okay, just now I want you to go back to this here. Remember what he said here. Now, most people, they don't realize that what sounds innocent is actually part of a greater plan to destroy their government. Have you ever taken the time, have you heard anybody really ask that man or bring up the point of what caused all these departments of government to come up in the first place? Congress and the people of America saw the need to have someone to watch over what the American people was being fed. They created those jobs for a reason. Now, these people, like the AIDS virus, is going through and convincing the American people that all of these safeguards and watchdog departments of government is too much government. We need to we need to shrink it. Well, the quickest way to shrink it is to defund it. And the way you defund it is you cut off the tax money. So then you don't have to vote on whether or not you want it to collapse. Just keep cutting taxes. And the more taxes you cut, the less revenue you have to pay people, and the government is being dried up. And they patting you on the back for it. Because you lying to them, telling them that you saving them some money. You know, that's the way the Negroes think. That's the way we used to think. You know, we go down there and buy some old cheap cardboard couch, sofa. And because it looked like a good deal for $150. And this one that costs $200 and $300. It's made out of real wood, got real stuff in it. And we say, oh, this a better deal here. And we buy 2 or 3 of them a year. Thinking that we saving some money. But anyway, that's the way poor people. You're not poor when you don't have money. You're poor when you don't have knowledge. When you look at things and your ability to reason about the value of things is off, then you are poor. You see. Now I want you to listen. Listen to what he finally says to Grover Norquist.
Simpson predicts that Norquist could soon become irrelevant. He thinks the country's financial situation is so dire that tax increases will become inevitable, and that a lot of 37 Republican pledge signers have urged the Select Committee to consider all options in solving the debt crisis. And 6 Republican congressmen, including Steve Latourette of Ohio, the only thing that never expires is the Grover Norquist pledge.
My word has been good on this tax pledge for 18 years, to be bound by something based upon circumstances that existed 18 years ago when the circumstances are different.
If you were a patriot, you'd have never signed that pledge in the first place. And not only that, you would have been sounding the alarm to your people that you got a man here trying to control your government by bribes. And you know what is he promising them? He promising them that they'll get to govern if they sign the pledge. And if they don't sign it, they won't get to govern. I thought the American people determine who gets to govern and who don't. Listen, I want to find that part where he goes off talking about his.
I think it's a little naive.
Grover Norquist says he's not losing any sleep over the defections. He's convinced that the Republicans have no intention of raising taxes, and he still has signed markers from 279 members of Congress promising that they will never let it happen.
Most of the Republicans I know are very pleased that we make it easy for them to credibly make that commitment. They're smiling when they get the picture taken with them.
Now, understand something. You see how I'm going after people who claiming to be Muslims? You better wake up. The Republican Party done been hijacked and misrepresented. And the Democrats ain't far behind, but the Republicans definitely done been hijacked. These are people calling themselves Republicans when what they actually are is when you look at some of the things that they doing. I mean, signing a pledge, and after they sign the pledge not to do the job, then they take an oath to uphold the Constitution. Well, how you upholding the Constitution when part of the constitutional duties of Congress is to, when they see something that will benefit the country, they levy taxes to make it happen. Congress has the authority to levy taxes when it's in the best interest of America. This man gets them to make a pledge never to raise taxes for any reason. Do you not see that that's almost treasonous? And he's boasting about it. Listen to this.
Me and the flesh, not grumpy, smiling.
She believes that everybody who smiles at a press conference is actually happy.
No, many. There may be one or two that are grumpy, and if they wish to provide their names, we will focus on their states and upcoming elections.
So you've got them coming, and you've got if they're a Republican. If they sign the pledge and break it, they're toast. And if they don't sign the pledge, they're probably toast.
But if they sign it and keep it, they win the primary, they win the general, they get to govern. And I help make all this possible.
And you call yourself tough. You call yourself smart. You saw the same thing I did. How come you didn't see what this man was saying to you? He done punked your Congress. Okay, let's take it a little further. Now, watch when let's catch that last statement of his one more time.
Sign the pledge and break it, they're toast. And if they don't sign the pledge, they're probably toast.
But if they sign it and keep it, they win the primary, they win the general, they get to govern. And I help make all this possible.
Got them coming, and you've got if they're a Republican. If they sign the pledge and break it, they're toast. And if they don't sign the pledge, they're probably toast.
But if they sign it and keep it, they win the primary, they win the general, they get to govern. And I help make all this possible.
See now, they want to govern so bad. They want to be in Congress so bad that they sell out their country just to be called a senator or a congressman. You sell your country out. You sell your manhood out to somebody like him. He ain't got no respect for them. Do you not see he's saying he done punked all of them? Now you just heard him say what happens when you don't sign the pledge and when you sign it and break your pledge. So either way, if you don't sign it, he gonna come out against you. And if you do sign it, you better toe the line. Is that right? So who's really controlling Congress? All right. Now let's see here. Let me show you something else here. You need to see these things. Remember I told you they was just hiding up under Ronald Reagan's name? Watch this.
Multi-millionaire K Street lobbyist Grover Norquist. In an interview with Daily Show last night, Jon Stewart asked the multi-millionaire lobbyist Grover Norquist if President Reagan should be scorned for raising taxes during his presidency. Here's what Norquist had to say.
I mean, Reagan raised taxes, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times? Yeah, and George Washington lost the Battle of New York. That was not on purpose. I mean, Reagan didn't want to raise taxes. He kept raising.
Did you hear that? Reagan didn't want to raise taxes, but the country needed something. But now he done perverted it to say no taxes for no reason. Right? Okay. Now listen to his answer when Jon Stewart asked him, well, don't you think what you'd have came out against Reagan?
82, 83, 85, I have a whole list here. Yeah, I mean, so would you have won somebody against him? No, the good news is, yeah, well, one, he hadn't signed the pledge.
So while Norquist wants to impeach President Obama for raising taxes, and he didn't sign the pledge either, President Reagan gets a free pass just because he didn't sign Norquist's ridiculous pledge, forcing lawmakers to respect the pledge before the multimillionaire K Street lobbyist Grover Norquist. In an interview with Daily Show last night, Jon Stewart asked the multimillionaire lobbyist Grover Norquist if President Reagan should be scorned for raising taxes during his presidency. This is what Norquist had to say.
I mean, Reagan raised taxes, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times. Yeah, and George Washington lost the Battle of New York. That was not on purpose. I mean, Reagan didn't want to raise taxes. He kept raising them, 82, 83, 85. I have a whole list here. Yeah, I mean, so would you have won somebody against him? No, the good news is, yeah, well, one, he hadn't signed the pledge.
He just said if people didn't sign the pledge, he would run them against them. Didn't he? You see, what they don't realize, it ain't got nothing to do with him caring about no taxes. It's about getting you to destroy your own government from within. Cut some more taxes. Every time you cut some taxes, you're taking money from something that the tax money was raised for. So they always blame it on welfare people. That's a good thing to blame it on. Just keep saying it's the niggers. It's the niggers. It's the people welfare fraud. Then you wind up finding out that welfare ain't but about 2% of the budget. And I mean, it's just, and that don't go so much to the welfare recipient as it does to Walmart, to all them stores that money is spent in. Do you understand? So, but they trying to get America to get rid of the watch. If an enemy want to attack your borders, the first thing he want to do is put all your watchers to sleep or get you to fire all the people who watching your border. Or put some incompetent ones in there. Matter of fact, better yet, move him some people in position that pretend that they with you and all the time working for him. Now, it's very important that you pay attention to what's going on here.
So while Norquist wants to impeach President Obama for raising taxes, and he didn't sign the pledge either, President Reagan gets a free pass just because he didn't sign Norquist's ridiculous pledge, forcing lawmakers to respect the pledge before the Constitution. Now that's very, very ugly.
You better start holding people accountable for pledging their to uphold and protect and defend this country and the Constitution of the United States from enemies, domestic and foreign. They take that pledge. Ain't nobody seeming to be held to it. Oh, just a moment. Let me see. Let you see something else here. Now, let's see something else that he did.
Fellow freedom fighters, fellow Americans, I repeat myself, because that's what it means to be an American, to be focused on liberty for ourselves, for everyone in the country, and by example, for the rest of the world. But 3 years ago, a new crew came into Washington about This is very easy. It block grants all the 77 plus welfare systems. It takes all of these unfunded liabilities and makes them fully funded, individually controlled by individuals. It takes spending from 25% of GDP down to 20% in 10 years and then down to 15% in out years. The Republicans in the House have passed 24 plus bills that create jobs and opportunity and strip out regulations. We just need a president to sign this stuff. We don't need someone to think it up or design it. We have a House and a Senate. The leadership now for the modern conservative movement for the next 20 years will be coming out of the House and the Senate. So focus on electing the most conservative Republican who can win in each House seat and the most conservative Republican who can win in each Senate seat, and then pick a Republican with enough working digits to handle the pen to become president of the United States.
Does it still look like it's a lot of isolated incidents? Okay, now, what did Donald Trump say before he left? I'm going to leave this to them. Just have it ready and I'll sign it when he get back. I don't know who this is calling me this time of night. But anyway, you heard what Grover said he wanted? Yes. And you just heard the president say he just wanted it on his desk by so-and-so, he'll sign it. He ain't going to work it out. He going to let them work it out, right? Yes, he going to sign whatever they give him. What did Grover say he wanted? Let's see here.
Now, for the modern conservative movement for the next 20 years will be coming out of the House and the Senate. So focus on electing the most conservative Republican who can win in each House seat and the most conservative Republican who can win in each Senate seat, and then pick a Republican with enough working digits to handle the pen to become president of the United States.
Now, I want to read something to you from George Washington's farewell address. You know, I mean, you call him your founding father, so the scriptures say honor your father and your mother. Yes. Well, let's see here. This is on page 7 of his farewell address. He said, I have already intimated to you the danger of parties in the state, with particular reference to the founding of them on geographical discriminations. Let me now take a more comprehensive view and warn you in the most solemn manner against the baneful effects of the spirit of party generally. This spirit, unfortunately, is inseparable from our nature, having its roots in the strongest passions of the human mind. It exists under different shapes in all governments, more or less stifled, controlled, or repressed. But in those of the popular form, of the democratic form, of this type of government, when he said popular form, he's talking about this government, the type of government that they have. It is seen in its greatest rankness. When something is rank, it means it's ugly, it's nasty. It says, and is truly their worst enemy. You know why? Because people start being loyal to their party instead of to their country. because they got some temporary advantage. Then it says, the alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, meaning some of the worst kind of treatments between people who should have been brethren. Look at what the Nazi Party did to Germany. Anyway, it says, the alternate domination of one faction over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism. Despotism means tyranny. But this leads at length to a more formal and permanent tyranny. The disorders and miseries which result gradually incline the minds of men to seek security and repose in the absolute power of an individual. You see Donald Trump, and they trying to, his handlers trying to use him to, you notice he admires Vladimir Putin, a dictator. He keeps saying things that a president shouldn't say. Okay, listen. I remember this boy sent me a letter, one of them racists. He sent me a letter. I think he took it down. He said, we got a surprise for you. No, it's me that's got a surprise for you. You don't believe I'm God, but you soon will. I'm just reading this so that you won't say I didn't give you a chance to repent. I'm letting you understand that I do see what's going on. And it says, and sooner or later, the chief of some prevailing faction, more able or more fortunate than his competitors, turns this tyranny to the purpose of his own elevation on the ruins of public liberty. In other words, after they done took away your freedom, there ain't no such thing as freedom under a tyrant. And it says, without looking forward to an extremity of this kind, which nevertheless ought not to be entirely out of sight, the common and continual mischiefs of the spirit of party are sufficient to make it the interest and duty of a wise people to discourage and restrain it. You should always be reminding each other, whether you Democrat, Republican, or whatnot, you should always be reminding each other that you are an American first. And if you do that, then you stand a chance to save your country from people who would, well, let me finish reading what George Washington said. He said, it serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration. When people just start talking about, well, the Republicans or the liberals or the conservatives, they have reduced everybody to two camps. And then they make you war with each other and not have serious discussion about what's best for the whole country. It's just like when you hear me talking about the things that I disagree with Minister Farrakhan and all of them on. You know, if I'm wrong, then why not us have a public discourse? And he show me that I'm wrong. He gets out in the public and talk with all these people that's not Muslims. He ran all the way over to Libya. He went to Iraq. He went to all these places. And a lot of them, they talking to everybody except somebody who was there with them, soldiering with him, with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I know why you don't want to talk to me, because you know I know that you have deviated. And if you found me deviating, why don't you say what the deviation is? So I can correct myself. Anyway, it says, it serves always to distract the people, distract the public councils, and enfeeble the public administration. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another, foments occasionally riot and insurrection. It opens the door to foreign influence and corruption. They're talking about the foreign influence in the election right now, because the parties done turned into not brothers who used to understand that, hey man, you conservative, you can call me liberal, I call you conservative, and we gonna argue these things out, and whoever argument get the best, we gonna adopt that and go on and move forward. They don't do that no more. It's just permanent enemies, just always locked into one trying to gain control over the whole thing. Okay. Destroying themselves while thinking they are empowering themselves. You know, anytime don't you know, I learned in elementary school that division is a shortcut to subtraction. A divided house cannot stand. You got the House of Representatives that really are divided into two factions. They're not Americans in there, they're Democrats and Republicans. You know, I told you, I don't mean you no harm. I'm just trying to wake you up to what's going on. Anyway, it says, it opens the door to foreign influence and corruption, which finds a facilitated access to the government itself through the channels of party passions. Thus, the policy and the will of one country are subjected to the policy and will of another. You even had some of the people that's in the government of America standing up, running down their own president and praising Putin. And you didn't see nothing wrong with that because the man's skin was black. You forgot all about he's the president of the United States. I mean, that's the first thing you learn in the military, that everybody agreeing and that this don't mean nothing. What's on them shoulders there? You can't have no divided army like that. Your armed forces are shrinked the minute you start dividing it up. You've shrunk its size when you start putting one against the other instead of making it all one. Any government that you turn and start convincing them to fight themselves, then while they fighting themselves, you can move in and pick sides with each one and keep them fighting each other. But anyway, let's see here. Thus, the policy and will of one country are subjected to the policy and will of another. There is an opinion that parties in free countries are useful checks upon the administration of the government and serve to keep alive the spirit of liberty, which is freedom. It says this within certain limits is probably true. And in governments of a monarchical caste, patriotism may look with indulgence upon parties. It says, if not with favor upon the spirit of party, but in those of the popular character of a democratic society, in governments purely elective, it is a spirit not to be encouraged. I mean, you hear these people now, they talk about their party as though their party is all that matters. The ones who got the best idea is those who call themselves independents. They vote based on who they think is best to run this country, best to serve the interests of their country. It is from their natural tendency, it is certain there will always be enough of that spirit for every salutary purpose, the spirit of party, and there being constant danger of excess. The effort ought to be by force of public opinion to mitigate and assuage it, a fire not to be quenched. It demands a uniform vigilance to prevent its bursting into a flame, lest instead of warming, it should consume. And now partisanship is consuming this country. It is important likewise that the habits of thinking in a free country should inspire caution in those entrusted with its administration to confine themselves within their respective constitutional spheres, avoiding in the exercise of the powers of one department, avoiding in the powers of one department to encroach upon another. Here the executive branch, the president stand up there telling somebody that this man ought to get the death penalty or that. You ain't got no business. You ain't got no business getting out there saying nothing like that. Then, I mean, it's other things that, I'm going to let you see them. It says, the spirit of encroachment tends to consolidate the powers of all the departments into one. What did Grover Norquist say? We don't need no fearless leader. We just need to elect a president for the leadership going to come out of Congress. So the president going to be what? A rubber stamp. They want to reduce, he wants to reduce and they done did it. Reduce the highest office in the land to a rubber stamp. Every time, what you think cut means? If you want any branch of government, if you want any part of government to die, cut its funding. How do you cut its funding? Cut taxes. And once you get away with that, then it'll dry up because there won't be no money there for it. and they won't even know what happened. So you better start paying attention. When you wake up one day, you ain't gonna have no country. And when they get through using you to help tear up your own house, then they're gonna kill you. Now, you just mark my words. And you remember that because they can't trust you. Who gonna trust you? And you help sell out your own country. Nobody gonna trust you, boy. You can't know about what kind of deal you made. Let me show you something here. Now, I want you to look at this. I want all of you to look at what I'm about to show you.
An honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the United States, John G. Roberts, Jr., who will administer the presidential oath of office. Everyone, please stand. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully execute. That I will faithfully execute. The office of President of the United States. The office of President of the United States. And will, to the best of my ability. And will, to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. Of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
He took an oath to uphold the Constitution, right? Yes. Now watch this. I want to remind you of something. What is the basis for the American judicial system? Beg pardon? The Constitution. The Constitution.
When I read that Donald Trump yesterday took aim at the American justice system, called it a laughingstock, called it a joke, I thought, whoa, wait a second. Did Donald Trump have some great awakening? Is Donald Trump finally coming out and calling the American justice system what it is because it has one version for the haves and one version for the have-nots? Is Trump going to issue a critique of the war on drugs for deliberately and disproportionately targeting non-white Americans? Is Donald Trump going to call out the plea deal industrial complex that has so many potentially not guilty individuals pleading guilty just to avoid the potential of incredibly long jail time? Is he taking aim at the structural injustices that pervade the American justice system? And the answer is no. Donald Trump called the U.S. justice system a joke and a laughingstock because I guess we haven't been tough enough and already tortured and found guilty the New York truck terrorist.
No, David. You looking at it, but you don't realize what you're looking at. And it's time that you get an understanding of. See, when you listen to what Mr. Trump says, it should have raised some red flags for you. And a question should have been asked. Now, you listen to what he says.
Tuesday's attack. Here's Donny Boy himself.
And we'll never, ever forget the beautiful lives that have been taken from us.
That was a horrible event, and we have to stop it, and we have to stop it cold. We also have to come up with punishment that's far quicker and far greater than the punishment these animals are getting right now. They'll go through court for years. At the end, there'll be who knows what happens. We need quick justice, and we need strong justice.
Now remember now, this man took the oath to uphold the Constitution. And he's sitting there now actually disrespecting the Constitution. You know why they said that the wheels of justice turn slow? And it was designed to do that. To no man get lynched. And it is better that 10 guilty people go free than one innocent man be wrongly convicted. Now that is, I'm not a lawyer, and I've heard lawyers say, and if that's not true, maybe some of them listening, they can straighten it out. But this man swore to uphold the Constitution, and now he's saying the Constitution is wrong. Listen.
Quicker and much stronger than we have right now. Because what we have right now is a joke, and it's a laughing stock.
That is pretty damn clear.
The Constitution is a joke and a laughing stock. Now, I mean, a laughing stock in whose eyes? Now, that's what should be asked. The American justice system is a laughing stock. Well, then the next question that should have been asked him, well, Mr. President, who's been laughing at the justice system? Who he been talking to? Who he been in a circle with laughing at the American justice system? Who? People that don't agree with it. Well, who are those people? Heads of other countries?
Yes, sir.
Generally dictators?
Yes, sir. You're right. What we have now in terms of the process of justice is a joke, and
Why did the president call
But before we get to that, issue 2 is, did Trump say it? Now you might be saying, wait, hold on, David. Of course he said it. You just played the video. It's very clear that he said it. For some reason, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, press secretary, hours later, denied that Donald Trump said what he just said in the video I played for you.
Now remember, I told you that in order for you to defend a liar, you have to lie. There's no way you can tell the truth and defend a lie. It's impossible. And the only one who would come out and represent a liar is another liar. Even if you don't want to lie, when you come out to try to defend or speak on their behalf, you have to lie. Listen.
Why did the president call the U.S. justice system a joke and a laughing stock during his comments?
That's not what he said.
He said that the system of justice in this country is a
process. He said the process has people calling us a joke and calling us a laughing stock.
Now the next thing we want to know is what people. You notice, now she done added a little something to it. Remember, I told you that's the question that needs to be asked. Who are you worrying about laughing at America's justice system? especially since America is the most powerful nation on earth. So who are you laughing? Who's sitting around with you calling it a joke? Let's just listen. You'd be surprised. Look, if you learn to listen when people talking, you'll stop taking people who are traitors and people who are your enemies for friends, and you'll stop calling people who try to befriend you your enemy. You ever seen a woman that a man beating on her and everything, the family try to tell her, friends try to tell you, need to leave that so-and-so. Don't say nothing about him. And you get out of my house. Run you away because you told them that the fellow wasn't no good. Ain't that something? Here, I mean, just you ain't seen nothing yet. This man swore to uphold the Constitution. And he just called the Constitution a joke. The justice system is a joke, he said. So I guess this was a joke too when he held his hand up and pledged to uphold it, huh? Okay.
Look, I think, as Judge Margaret simply pointed out, his frustration of how long that this process takes, how costly this process is, and particularly for someone to be a known terrorist, that process shouldn't move faster. That's the point he's making. That's the frustration he had.
It has not been a particularly good week.
In other words, see, they don't realize what they are saying. Most of the people that's listening don't realize that what they are actually trying to convince you of is that whenever people that you don't like come into contact with you, you should throw your principles away and just deal with them like a savage, or deal with them like you deal with you know, some our civilized behavior don't apply to uncivilized people. That'd be like me saying I'm a Muslim as long as I'm around people who got sense enough to appreciate it. But the minute I run into somebody who ain't got sense enough to appreciate I'm a Muslim, I stop being a Muslim. No, it's just like this morning when I cast that boy into hell. I did what Allah's word told me to do. He didn't say beat him up. You know what hell is? Hell is a condition where you don't have no peace and you don't have no friend nor helper. And he's going to realize that that's exactly what I did to him this morning. He didn't have nobody to defend him because what he did was indefensible. You don't disrespect people who are trying to respect you. I didn't need to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get on the thing with him and be ready to talk to him for 6 o'clock in the morning for him to come in there talking crazy to me for no reason. It's not like I wasn't making myself available to be argued with. I don't mind you arguing with me. But you want to come in and talk at me instead of to me. You talk about me to somebody else and I'm sitting there listening. No, I don't appreciate that. I don't do that to you, and I don't want you doing that to me. You know, that's the one thing about being in contempt. You got the keys to let yourself out if you know how. So, you know. Anyway.
For Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who do you believe? Do you believe the video of Trump saying it? Or do you believe Sarah Huckabee Sanders telling us he didn't say it? Straight up lies day after day. So that part is not really the big headline because we're expecting this now on a daily basis from Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Let's get to the meat of it now, right? The long, costly process that doesn't get the right results in our justice system when it comes to individuals accused of terror and horrible violent crimes. There are people who will say we should be trying these cases like the New York truck driver in military tribunals up to and including Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay Detention Center in Cuba. They cite security concerns of having these really bad dudes in our regular courts. The problem is we've had no incidents ever that point to the idea that our court system can't handle dangerous people. We had trials of people involved with Osama bin Laden and 9/11. There were never any issues. Our court.
If I told you why a lot of them don't be tried in the public courts, it would, you know, certain things they would tell would be pretty embarrassing. But anyway, I'm going to leave that alone for now. Now, here's a man that swore his allegiance to the Constitution and to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Is that right? Okay.
Involved with Putin. I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me.
I never spoke with him. I know nothing about him other than he will respect me. How you know he will respect you? Boy, this is rich.
I don't think Putin has any respect whatsoever for Clinton. I think he does respect me. And I hope I get along great with him. It's possible.
Well, I thought you ain't never had no dealings with him. But I think he will respect me. Why? Let him keep talking.
Possible that we won't, Jeremy. I hope that we get along great with Putin because it would be great to have Russia with a good relationship. Right now, we don't have a good relationship.
How in the world is a democracy, the head of state of a democracy, gonna have a good, warm, friendly relationship with a dictator? Explain that to me. Will one of y'all tell me how that's gonna happen? I mean, you believe in, you supposedly believe in two different forms of government. You can have a respectful relationship, but I don't know how good it's gonna be. Because obviously it's him that's laughing at your form of government. And unless you sitting there laughing with him, I don't know how you think you and him gonna have a good relationship. Which obviously he's sitting there laughing with him because he ain't showed his tax return yet. Like every other presidential candidate. I mean, just listen to him and watch this. Now here this man supposed to be trying to be president of the United States, and listen to what come out of his mouth.
Putin has said things over the last year that are really bad things, okay? He mentioned the N-word one time. I was shocked to hear him mention the N-word. You know what the N-word is, right? He mentioned it. I was shocked. There's a total lack of respect for President Obama. Number one, he doesn't like him. And number two, he doesn't respect him. I think he's going to respect you.
What does it mean when a dictator don't like the president of the United States? Does that mean something bad? I mean, who is Putin that anybody need him to like him? I mean, really, he seemed to need him to like him. Now, why? Especially with all that talk they was doing about Putin playing chess and Obama playing checkers and and watch what he said about the U.S. Just a minute.
President, if I'm elected, and I hope he likes me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
I thought he didn't know if they had the emails. And now he sends a message. He talking over your head, you know. Russia, if you find the 30,000 emails, I hope if you find, listen to him.
I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
Now this man, the president of the United States. Now, wait a minute. I ain't through with it.
It's just a total deflection, this whole thing with Russia. In fact, I saw her campaign manager, I don't know his title, Mook. I saw him on television, and they asked him about Russia and the hacking. By the way, they probably have her 33,000 emails. I hope they do. They probably have her 33,000 emails.
He just said he didn't know. Didn't he say he didn't know?
Said she lost and deleted because you'd see some beauties there. So let's see. But I watched this guy Mook, and he talked about, we think it was Russia that hacked. Now, first of all, it was what was said on those that's so bad. But he said, I watched it. I think he was live. He said, we think it was Russia that hacked. And then he said, I'm just an innocent person sitting watching television, as I've been doing.
Didn't the intelligence community tell him that it was Russia?
Yes, sir.
But he think they all stupid too. He done said that too, huh? Yeah.
And then he said, could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah, Trump. He reminded me of John Lovitz for Saturday Night Live in The Liar. Where he goes, yeah, I went to Harvard. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let's see here. I seem to recall something like that. Give me a minute.
Fellow freedom fighters, fellow Americans, but I repeat myself, because that's what it means to be an American, to be focused on liberty for ourselves, for everyone in the country, and by example, for the rest of the world. But 3 years ago, a new crew came into Washington, Obama, Reid, Pelosi, and they had a different vision. They were a vision of the road to serfdom. They wanted to dramatically increase spending, and they did, from 20% of the economy up to 25% out of Washington alone, $4 trillion in debt. The plan was to turn us irrevocably into something between France and Greece, and on a bad day, Chicago. And they were adamant. They had a theory about what they were doing when they piled up all this spending and debt. You may remember, it's called Keynesian economics, that if they got 3 buckets, they take their 3 buckets, dip them in, give argument the theory. The reality was they had a lot of hungry people and mouths that they had to feed. And by this, I'm talking about the collection of people who make $100,000 a year, managing the dependency of to do, and a list of things you're not allowed to do that is slightly longer and more tedious than Leviticus. So, around the last table, they can get along and come at our throat as long as we're foolish enough to raise taxes and throw money in the center of the table, and then they can get along like the scene in the movie after the banquet. One for you, one for you, one for you, and they're all happy.
Now you see him making fun of the government and how it's funded. And he said they can come at our throats If they keep taking money from us and making sure that these agencies that are watchdog agencies can keep them from messing over the American people, but he turns it into a bad thing. Do you understand? Okay. That's why they want to cut off all of the tax money.
It's to say no to tax increases, stop throwing money in the center of the table, put our foot on the arrows, and watch that pile of cash begin to decline. And then our friends on the left begin to look at each other around the table a little bit more like the second to the last scene in those lifeboat movies. Now they're wondering who they're going to eat or who they're going to throw overboard. The left is not made up of friends and allies. It is made up of competing parasites.
Divide and what? Divide and conquer. Just listen.
Step one in Obama, Reid, and Pelosi's plan was spend a whole bunch of money. Step two was to talk the Republicans into putting their fingerprints on a tax increase to pay for it, to backfill the massive increase in government spending and government control of our lives and make it permanent by coming up with a permanent funding source for it. And so they spent all of 2010 and all of 2011 trying to talk the Republicans into walking into a room and agreeing to a gang of 6 or a gang of 12 or a super committee or something where they'd agree to have tax increases along with pretend spending cuts. And they had reason to believe they could do this because in 1982, they lied to and fooled Ronald Reagan. They got him to agree to $1 of tax increase for every $3 of spending cuts. It was actually $177 billion of tax increase over 5 years. Tax increases were real. We're still paying them. The spending cuts never happened. In fact, spending went up twice as much as the tax increase. They had more spending, not less. Then they turned around to George Herbert Walker Bush in 1990, and they offered him $2 of imaginary tax spending cuts for every $1 of very real tax increase. He, for some reason, was a cheaper date. He only got $2 of imaginary spending cuts. And the tax increases were real. The spending cuts never happened. Spending didn't even go down a little. It went up in both cases. What happened in 2011 was that they weren't able to talk the Republicans into swallowing their own tongues and committing suicide. They've been able to do it in the past. They weren't able to do it in 2011. Why? I would argue that the Tea Party movement, the Ron Paul movement, Obama, Reid, Pelosi, fellow freedom fighters, fellow Americans, but I repeat myself, because that's what it means to be an American, to be focused on liberty for ourselves, for everyone in the country, and by example.
Didn't Donald Trump just say people that repeat themselves is lying? Ain't that what he said? Let me go back and check this out.
If John Lovitz for Saturday Night Live in The Liar, where it goes, yeah, I went to Harvard, yeah, this is the guy, you have to see it. Yeah, it could be Trump, yeah. So it is so far-fetched, it's so ridiculous. Honestly, I wish I had that power. I'd love to have that power. But Russia has no respect for our country, and that's why, if it is Russia, nobody even...
Well, then why does he want Putin's respect and his seem like approval? Why is he so busy trying to cater to Putin? He says Russia has no respect for our country, right? When did he find that out? I mean, he said he ain't never met them. So when did he find out that Russia does not respect the United States? You know how people come to you with they got my some of my elders used to say, look, young blood, a dog that'll bring a bone will carry one. And so now if somebody come to you and tell you what they heard somebody saying about you, they couldn't have heard it if they hadn't been sitting there listening. Do you understand? So, I mean, listen to what he's saying and analyze it.
John Lovitz for Saturday Night Live in The Liar. We go, yeah, I went to Harvard. Yeah. This is the guy. You have to see it. Yeah, it could be Trump. Yeah. So it is so far-fetched. It's so ridiculous. Honestly, I wish I had that power. I'd love to have that power. But Russia has no respect for our country. And that's why, if it is Russia, nobody even knows. It's probably China. Or it could be somebody sitting in his bed. But it shows how weak we are. It shows how disrespected we are. As total sign, assuming it's Russia or China or one of the major countries and competitors, it's a total sign of disrespect for our country. Putin and the leaders throughout the world have no respect for our country anymore, and they certainly have no respect for our leader. So I know nothing about it. It's one of the most far-fetched I've ever heard. Yes, John?
See how they let him get away with saying these things? Instead of saying, well, I thought you had never met with Putin and all these other leaders. He ain't been around it, at least not that you know of. But he been doing business in a lot of these countries. And the way that the things that they've seen him do and get away with, they laugh and talk about, you couldn't do that and get away with that around here. You wouldn't have that kind of freedom. And so he thinks that the freedoms that he has are what you call shows that America is weak, stupid. So, well, if that's the way you think, then and you want it, you want that, well, that's good. I ain't gonna, I'm through talking about that now. I'm gonna get over here to something else that I heard today that you need to hear. It's just like this here.
We've heard a lot this year about Russia and its attempt to use social media to influence the 2016 presidential election. But new revelations today about the role of social media giants like Facebook and Twitter add to the issue. Hari Srinivasan has our report.
In fact, officials with Twitter met behind closed doors today with staff on the House and Senate Intelligence Committees about Russian involvement in the election. The New York Times reported that Russia may have used Twitter even more extensively to influence the election, including using automated message accounts or bots to spread false information and promote stories about emails by Democratic operatives. It comes after Facebook recently announced it will give congressional investigators some 3,000 political ads purchased by Russian propaganda groups. Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg acknowledged the spread of false information on his platform, saying in a statement, quote, after the election, I made a comment that I thought the idea that misinformation on Facebook changed the outcome of the election was a crazy idea. Calling that crazy was dismissive, and I regret it. This is too important an issue to be dismissive.
I want to show you what they talking about with them bots. So I recorded a few of them. Now, the way they suck you in is they'll give you a piece of information that you done heard on the news that may be true. Then you think that you done found a good site. And listen to this.
The Guantanamo Bay military tribunals on Wednesday won their first conviction without a plea deal since 2008. Only it wasn't a terrorist who was convicted, it was a one-star Marine general sticking up for the rights of the accused to have a fair trial. in defending the principle that attorneys.
No, that's a bot. That's a robot talking. That ain't no person. Now, let's see here. Now, watch this. You know, we try to give you examples so that you will see. You know, I don't run with nothing that I hear on the news until I'm pretty sure that what it's about I can speak and not have to wind up taken back. You know, but this kind of false people that ain't even living in this country, people that's got another agenda, get you to trust them to bring you information, and then once they get your trust, then they feed you misinformation. You see, just give me a minute here. Maybe I can open it with this other one. Yeah.
Wilson calls herself rock star, backfires as sick things she did to drug agents came out. There's no arguing that Florida Democratic Representative Frederica Wilson robs the spotlight, as she's been basking in it since coming forward to lie about President Donald Trump.
Now, you see that lie that they put out there? Yes. You see, and that's directed to those who are not, you know, strong enough in their mind to see that that's a propaganda. You see, to turn people against each other. Do you understand? So, you know, and that's some of that lies supporting Donald Trump and his wrongdoing. Do you understand? And, you know, it's just like, don't you know, if I wasn't telling the truth, if I wasn't sharing the truth with you, and these people thought that they could prove it, they'd be in here, I couldn't get a word out edgewise. Liars know who they can put it over on and who they can't. You see? Don't never trust any robot call. See who doing the talking. If you can't ask no questions about it, why are you sitting there talking to them or listening to them? The Holy Quran says if an unrighteous man brings you news, and the scripture said there ain't none righteous. No, not one. So anybody bring you news, you should look carefully into it before you get out there parakeeting it. If you had looked carefully into that stuff with Dr. Bill Cosby, that media circus that they created around him wouldn't have happened. Because now you getting a chance to see what women do when somebody really doing something to them. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm going to let you hear something else here now. You need to hear these things. Now, this is Minister Farrakhan, and I'm going to let you hear it from his own mouth. Just give me a minute. Now, why are they starting this off with Arabs chanting? Because they had started following them. See, he got that from Wallace now. You see, they all started learning the Arabic language and everything, talking about they learning the real Islam. This is after they had been out there lying on the messenger, saying the messenger wasn't teaching true Islam. Helping Wallace mess up our people. Now watch this. I like to be just, if you hear me say something about him that you think is false or fabricated, you welcome to come in here and straighten it out. But I'm gonna let you hear his own words.
That a new world order is coming in now. And in the old world order has had its day.
See, he don't understand what he's saying. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad ain't said nothing about no new world order coming in. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the new world of Islam, not the old world of Islam, but a new world of Islam. Not a new world order. Just listen now. Now watch what Minister Farrakhan says about these people of this world.
We are now living in that which the prophets predicted as the end of the world. It is foolish now for you to glory in a cross. Listen good. It is foolish for you to glory in a crescent or to glory in your star of David. It is foolish for you to glory in your church or your cathedral or your great mosque. These are but symbols. And as long as man remains a symbol of himself, he will rejoice in symbolism. As long as man remains a symbol of himself, rituals will be the thing that holds him in religion. But I must hasten to tell you, baptism is a ritual. That is not the real baptism. I must hasten to tell you that communion and your, what we call consecration of your life to God is a ritual that must be done away with. Even your prayer service in Islam is a ritual that you must go deeper now and understand the root of why you pray. And why God gave you time to pray and the positions to pray. If it's just ritual, it is devoid of spirit. And you are judging them because they don't make the positions of prayer how hypocritical and wicked you are. What good is it for them to say, how your head from Jesus' name is mentioned? What good is it for a Muslim to prostrate on the floor for Mecca? What good is it for the Jews during this time of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, to talk about repentance and atonement and faith? The holy city of Jerusalem, when Jerusalem has been turned into a house of thieves. What good is it for you, my brothers, to walk around the sacred Kaaba at Mecca and continue a ritual that the end of that ritual has come in the fulfillment of all of it? I know it hurts, and I don't want to hurt your feelings. But you didn't hear Elijah Muhammad when he was among you. So God has brought me back to myself to be a reminder to you of a man that you didn't listen to. You in Arabia, you in the Islamic world, you in the Christian world, you Jews and the government of America and the Pope of Rome, you should have paid attention. Now the reminder comes again quickly, because death is the nation of Islam. I know that many of you thought the nation was dead and you would never see it again. And I know that Washington, D.C., the government of America, and my Arab brothers rejoice because they thought that the theology of Elijah Muhammad was laid to rest. But you will be laid to rest before Elijah Muhammad. You should have listened to the man. You should have reasoned with the man. You didn't like his theology. My Orthodox Muslim brothers said he's not teaching Islam correctly, according to the teachings of the Holy Quran. Who said that you understood the book? You are vain and arrogant to think that any of you scholars of Islam understand the book that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad nearly 1,400 years ago. He himself said 3 generations from me, after that you will no longer be of me. So how in the world can we put our salvation in the hands of those who have deviated from Prophet Muhammad and have become idolaters in the name of the Prophet of Islam? No, we can't follow you. No, not going to follow you. You're unfit to be a guide for the black man of the West. No. You are a part of the problem. Therefore, you cannot be the solution. You have to create the problem. How can you then claim to be the savior of the people?
Didn't he help create the problem? Didn't he help lead people away from the messenger's teaching? Yes, sir. Well, how can he claim to be a part of the solution? Out of his own mouth. Ask any of them, did I help lead you astray? Or was I all the time trying to get you to come back to the right way? But you didn't want to hear me. And ain't none of you understand the Holy Scriptures. I'm the only one who understands the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. I'm the only one who understands them. You hear anybody arguing with me on that? No. Then why they don't submit? Come on, Iblis. Tell me why you won't submit. Say the words. Because he thought what? He thought he was better. The first thing out of his mouth, who you supposed to be? Right? Yeah. It's like Minister Abdul Kareem looked at me and said, kings and queens inherit thrones. It is not so with gods. No. I'm able to give life to the dead. Mr. Farrakhan ain't giving no life to nobody. Everybody around him is just as ignorant as he is. And if you say you're not ignorant, come on in here and I'll prove to you you don't know nothing. Because he didn't know nothing. He say things, but he's not aware of what he's saying. You see what he said about you can't, how you gonna be you part of the problem. You help create the problem. You can't be the savior. Let me let you hear that part again.
To the man. You should have reason with the man. You didn't like his theology. My Orthodox Muslim brothers said he's not teaching Islam correctly, according to the teachings of the Holy Quran. Who said that you understood the book? You're vain and arrogant to think that any of you scholars of Islam understand the book that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad nearly 1,400 years ago. He himself said 3 generations from me, after that you will no longer be of me. So how in the world can we put our salvation in the hands of those who have deviated from Prophet Muhammad and have become idolaters in the name of the Prophet of Islam? No, we can't follow you. No, not going to follow you. You're unfit to be a guide for the black man of the West. No, you are a part of the problem. Therefore, you cannot be the solution. You have to create the problem. How can you then claim to be the savior of the people with your mystified interpretation of the divine word of God? No, you're going to have to sit down. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was raised up in America as a warner, not just to black people. He's a warner to America and a warner to the nations of the earth that a new world order is coming in now. And that the old world order has had its day and its turn.
No, he changed the teachings. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a warner, and he told you that ain't nobody coming behind me but God. Now that's what he told you. And you can believe it or not. If you don't believe it, I'll let you hear him. So you can accept it or not. Now I'm gonna let you hear something else that you didn't know was there. You see, I likes to I'm gonna let you go. It ain't gonna take but a minute. I ain't gonna hold you. No. I'm gonna let you get out of here. I'm just as tired as you here. So just give me a minute. Here it is.
When Malcolm made the statement of this, chickens coming home to roost this files, if you're able to get some of these files, they're very interesting. Because now the chicken was gunned down in the Audubon Forum, as you know, brothers and sisters, because Elijah Muhammad was yet alive. It's Dr. Muhammad. A man that believed in the rise of the black man was working for the rise of black people. I didn't come for religion, but I have always been religious. And I know that religion don't need a damn if it's religion for religion's sake. Religion is only valid if it is working for the uplift and the freedom of a people. Other than that, the hell with religion. Hear me now. Hear me now. Hear me. I'm saying to Muslims, praying is good, but stand on your behind after you pray the prayer so. Because it's got to be an action that comes behind prayer to see the divinity of your crying out to God. If you pray and don't work, then the prayer means nothing. And if it's just religion to make us holy, but not to make us free, I don't want to be no
the side of your friend. I became the national spokesman for Elijah Muhammad. Went right up into Malcolm's place. I didn't want Malcolm's place. I loved him. And I wanted for him what was his, and I wanted to aid him in any way I could to maintain what was his. And here was I in Malcolm's house. Here was I over Malcolm's temple on the temple that Malcolm was over. Here was I in the city that honored Malcolm. And then my trouble began. Because the same justice that twisted and hurt Malcolm was now directed at Brother Parker. The more I became popular, the more intense was the envy and the vicious talk about this brother among my people. It wasn't a city that I went into that I didn't hear what my brothers were saying against me, about me, while I worked 18 hours a day for the cause of Islam and denied my wife and my children a father for a cause that I believe in. So Malcolm's enemies did become mine. But here's where Brother Farrakhan made a mistake. I succumbed to a thief. And I too began to foolishly say, and wonder, could my thief jealous of me? Why are you saying this, Farrakhan? If they confession is good for the soul. But you see, when you tell the truth, you help somebody else to see truth, even if the truth is against yourself. I love my leader and teacher, but I had a weak thought that came because my leader was so seeing. He looked at me one day at the table when everybody was praising Farrakhan. He hit the table and said, yes, he's very well known, all right. So that when he turns hypocrite on me, the whole world will see. Hit me like a, what is this? What did you say this for? But he,
Yeah, that's when you start thinking that he was jealous of you. You see, people, you know, it's a lot of people that they, you know, when they like you, you remember what Donald Trump said? He could go out there on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and he wouldn't lose none of his voters. Well, you got some people, it don't make them no difference what this man confessed to. They still want to try to make him something that he's not. You know, you just heard him say, you part of the problem. I know where you're going to be the savior and you the one that helped create the problem that we got. Now, he was sitting back there when the messenger was here, sitting up thinking the messenger was jealous of him. How do you believe? Now, explain to me, one of y'all that's listening that knows so much, and I don't know. So explain to me how you believe that a man is the messenger of God, and at the same time, you think that he's jealous of you, and you his student. Now, explain to me how you still believe he's the messenger of God, but at the same time, you think he's jealous of you. Come in and tell me how that works. Because that's an evil thought to have in the first place about God's messenger. He sure didn't have to spend all that time teaching you and raising you up just to get jealous of you. But you see, that's what praise do to people. He's so happy when somebody praising him, and then when he get on him about something, then he's out. He just jealous because they ain't praising him. Well, that's what his problem was. He thought the messenger was jealous because they was praising him, when he should have been paying attention to the messenger, because the messenger saw him. That's why he gave him the name Farrakhan and never told him what it meant. But I told him what it meant. Excuse me, let me hang this other line up. Okay. So I just found this one. Somebody uploaded that online. It's better than the one I had, so I recorded it. Now you heard it plainly. So, you know, he's sitting up there talking about the messenger. He's jealous of him. You know, they want to try to make it innocent. You know, no, ain't nothing innocent about it. Later on, he even confessed later that he didn't believe the messenger was the messenger no more. Now, this was after he supposedly came back. So, no. So these people, he started hooking up with WD. Next thing you know, they're all out there tripping together. So I'm, you know, I done just about exhausted all my efforts that I could think of to try to reach them people. And you know, I'm through listening at you asking me about why we don't get together, whatnot. It's not my doing that we didn't get together. They didn't want to get together. They wanted to keep robbing people. You know, ask him what happened to the money from the Million Man March. I saw all them boxes full of money that were taken up there. Ask him what happened to it. They split it and then went back for millions more. And you want to come in here talking crazy to me? I'm not going to hear it from you. No. Anyway, it's late. Anybody got something they want to ask me before I let you go? I'm not like them people. You notice I don't wear no watch. So, you know, I don't wear no jewelry. You know, I had my fill of jewelry when I was youngster. You know, watches used to hurt my wrist anyway. So I ain't, you know, they never liked nothing around my wrist. You know. I hope that those who Mr. Trump thinks so stupid show him that they ain't the one that's stupid. So, you know, I hope you save your nation from all of its enemies. And anything that I can do to help, I will help you. I can do plenty. I'm already doing plenty. You know, so you just, you know, all of our brothers who believe in the word of God, I'm your ally. Don't never doubt that. So, if there are no questions, then I will let you go because I'm a little tired myself. So may Allah bless us all, keep us safe and in our right minds. Are you sure you want to let me go right now? Yeah, some of you, you know, I know some of them trying to get nerve up to say something. Look, let me tell you something. Anything that you want to say in disagreement with me, I don't have no, I don't have no objections to that. Only thing I object to is you showing me disrespect while I'm showing you respect. Now, you know, you ain't got to believe I'm the Son of Man. You know, that's fine. You don't have to believe it. If you have something that makes you doubtful of that, feel free to express it. You know, you don't have to get all hostile about it. All you have to do is just express your doubt or whatever, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have about me, why I say what I say, or why I take the position I've taken. You are owed that explanation. You know, you can't go to people who already have knowledge and talk to them like they just now learning. I mean, you got to deal with them where they at. And if they got knowledge that seem to contradict you, then you need to let them share that with you and then deal with it. If you can't deal with it, you must not be who you claim you are. So I remember the messenger, he said so many things. I'm looking at my I'm trying to see if it's book 1 or book 2. Remember, he said the truth separates. That's true. Yeah. Truth is the light. Yeah, the light separates. Here it is. And on the next to the last page, on page 9, in the ones that I redid for you, it says, if you are dealing with truth, you are dealing with Allah. You see? And he said, get in earnest with Allah. Yeah, that's right. So that is what I'm here with. I'm here with the truth. And so that I became the truth. And that's why I'm called by them the best knower. Allah is the truth. And Allah is the best knower of the truth. And so I'm the best knower. You see? No man knows the Father but the Son, and he to whom the Son will make him known. Do you understand? If I don't make you know the truth, you don't know the truth. So now, anybody got a problem with me saying that, you come in and tell me what your problem is. Because you sure don't know. You don't know the truth. I'm the only one who knows the truth. You see? So you can be white, black, don't make no difference. I'm the only one who knows the truth. The truth is the word of God. And I'm the only one who know that. So all praise is due to Allah. I think you all are starting to believe me now, because you ain't clowning so much. So that's good. So may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. You see how long I gave them to unmute their phone and say something? You did fix it where they could unmute it, right, brother? All right. You ain't in that mode of, no, I don't want that. Because they know that they don't have to be disrespectful to me, because I'm not going to disrespect them. And people got a right to disagree with you. You know, and if they can't disagree with you, well, then how in the world are they going to agree with you if they can't disagree with you? The only way you change a man's mind that disagrees with you is you have to let him express his disagreement. Then if you show him that his disagreement is not valid, well, you know what they said in the, I heard white people say this and during them elections. I think it was, I forgot which one of them it was, but one of them commentators, he said everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but not their own facts. Facts don't belong to no particular person. Facts is the truth. They just facts. And they not yours and they ain't mine. They stand alone. Allah is independent. Allah is the truth. Allah is the fact. Yes. All right. So thank you for listening. And I wish all of you that are hungry and thirsty for righteousness. I not only wished you Allah's peace, I've been speaking that, which, if you paid attention, it brought you some more peace. So, may Allah's salam alaikum.
This session is no